Hi, I'm Avery Blackston, and today I'm going to be speaking over how our identity rests in Christ. So in high school, I was friends with a few girls, and growing up with them, they were never really rude until we got to high school. And we became cheerleaders, and we just started being really rude and talking about girls behind their backs. And but coming from a small town, I always had eyes on me. Like, everybody knew who my family was and everybody knew who I was. And so I could have used that opportunity to share the love of Jesus with everybody I knew, but instead I was scared. I was scared I would lose like how cool I was, even though I wasn't really that cool. Sometimes I did things I regret. So like, I was mean and selfish and not a great friend, and I didn't really understand the concept of being a good friend until I got to college, and I missed the people I hung out with. So sometimes I think we try to become this person that we think other people want us to be, but instead we have to realize that we're called to be in the identity of Christ, and that's who we are. So when it comes to identity, I always think of Moses. When he was a little baby floating in the river of the Nile, and Pharaoh's daughter came and rescued him and brought him to live in Pharaoh's palace. So when he started to have this like identity crisis was when the Hebrew people were working for Pharaoh, but he was over here living as family in Pharaoh's palace. So it was really hard for him to distinguish which identity he lived by, but instead he needed to realize that he lived in the identity of Christ and didn't have to identify with either of those. So when it comes to identity, identity comes from nothing but God, not our family or friends or what the mean girl said about you, but only God. So in Ephesians 1:4, it says, "For he chose us in him before the creation of the world to be holy and blameless in his sight. In love, he predestined us for adoption to sonship." So that's meaning that he wanted us specifically to be made in his image, and he made us in his image. So we just need to live that through. And we are not just the person that we are. My second point is that our past does not define who we are. Knowing that the mistakes that we've made might make it difficult for us to understand that God forgives us, and he casts those mistakes and issues that we had into the sea of forgetfulness, and there's nothing that you could do now that could change who you are in him. You are exactly who he says you are, that you are loved and beautiful and made in his image. Ephesians 1:7-8 says, "In him we have redemption, through his blood, the forgiveness of sins, in accordance with the riches of God's grace that he lavished on us with all wisdom and understanding." So this is meaning that God's grace will always cover us no matter what our past has to say about us, and that we are always forgiven in his name. My third point is that he takes our bondage away. So he says that we are made holy and blameless in his sight. He died on the cross so that all we have to do is rest in that his grace covers us beyond what we could ever even understand or fathom. It's so amazing. In him we have redemption through his blood. So just because he died on the cross is just so mind-blowing for us, that he loves us so much that he would just do that for us and just cover us with that amazing grace that he has for us. So all the enemy wants to do is believe that you're nothing and tell us that we're defined by the small, tiny details and mistakes that we've made in our lives. And that's false. He will twist until he has us believing a false identity. So speak it into existence that you are the Lord's and that we are done with the enemy's games.